Move on, get to our next topic here, guys. Our next topic is brought to us by Yahoo Fantasy Football, the number one fantasy football app in America. Fantasy football season is here. Fire up the group chats, get your draft boards ready, and buckle up for a season that is sure to be filled with all the crazy overreactions we live for. And it all goes down right here on Yahoo Fantasy. UCSS League is back on Yahoo Fantasy this year, too. Very excited about that. To celebrate 28 years of fantasy greatness, Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 big new features over 28 days, giving you more ways to play, more ways to draft, and more ways to win it all. The fun begins on August 4th. Stay tuned and get started by creating or joining a Yahoo Fantasy Football League at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. That is yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. And let's make this fantasy season the best one yet. So when the Browns decided to let Nick Chubb walk and then eventually sign with the Houston Texans, a lot of fans were rightfully mad, upset, hurt by the decision to let one of the franchise's most beloved players leave when maybe he would have been willing to come back. We saw the goodbye video Nick Chubb posted on his YouTube page. We saw Andrew Berry at the Combine kind of hint at this possibility. And then he signed with Houston. And we all thought, second year, coming off the debilitating leg injury that cost him the 2023 season, or 2024 season, this could be the year where Nick Chubb makes his resilient comeback. And early reports out of Houston were, he looks pretty good. However, DeMeco Ryan said something earlier this week that kind of caught my eye. So I'm going to read you what DeMeco Ryan said about Nick Chubb, and I'm hoping Tyvis and Dustin can put this through the coach translator machine and tell us what he's really playing, and if what DeMeco's saying is true, if that may change Browns fans' opinion on how this all unfolds. This is what DeMeco Ryans, the head coach of the Houston Texans, said about Nick Chubb. He said, quote, guy's age. Chubb's been through a lot. It's not always going to be the same as his early years in the NFL, but what I hang my hat on with him is that this guy loves football. He's physical. He plays the right way. He prepares himself the right way. Really sharp guy when it comes to the protection scheme. He's on it. He's always been a tremendous football player, especially when he's healthy. So he's still working his way back. Looks like he's in really good shape, and he'll continue to get better. People in Houston, after that first couple days, have said
remember,
that Nick
Joe
Chubb,
Mixon's hurt.
Yes,
right now too,
and that's why Nick Chubb's been getting some more of these reps. And DeMeco Ryan said that, and then a lot of people in Houston, a lot of the beat reporters are saying that he just doesn't look like the same player he once was.
Well, guys, we saw that he's not the same player,
But did you think there was a chance he would look at least better than last year?
I mean, I guess maybe a little better than last year. But here's the thing: maybe those guys didn't, and the people in Texas probably didn't watch the Browns play a lot last year. The Browns stunk.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb was not good last year for them. So what they're thinking is they're getting Nick Chubb that was a Pro Bowler.
Right.
Well, they didn't get Nick Chubb the Pro Bowler. They got Nick Chubb, the old, aging veteran. I mean, it's like, remember when the Browns had signed Willis McGahee late in his career?
Yeah.
And Willis McGahee was really good. And by the way, that's another guy who had a bunch of knee injuries in college and in the pros.
Willis McGahee.
We did. And he was not great.
No.
It was Manziel's year, rookie year. They had Willis McGahee, and he was just kind of an average veteran, didn't do a whole lot. It wasn't the player we saw at Miami, certainly, prior to the injury. It wasn't the player we saw in Buffalo. But that's where Nick Chubb is at this point. I mean, you can see he's still got size, and he's physical, and he's going to be a great leader. I still don't want to tackle him.
Yeah.
And there's probably not many people that do want to tackle Nick Chubb, but he doesn't have the burst. And so to expect him to be able to break, remember the run against the Raiders in 2018?
Yeah.
I mean, it was such an awesome play. I mean, he ain't doing that anymore. He's not outrunning defenses.
No, but don't you think, if he were still here, and I, even though I knew there was a chance he'd never be good again, I still wanted the Browns to bring him back. I understood why they didn't, especially after they drafted 2 running backs. But the funny thing is, the thing they're missing right now with the Judkins situation is kind of that short yardage goal line back, which I think Nick could probably still be at this point in his career. Yes, the game-breaking days are probably over, but couldn't he play a type of role that Kareem Hunt's played the last couple of years?
He's probably going to be a guy you want on your fantasy team because he's going to get a lot of 2-yard touchdown runs.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The Browns need a guy like that right now.
Yeah. Well, everyone needs a guy like that.
Yeah.
That's why he's in Houston.
Yeah.
Who is out? Do we have a big back?
No.
Amani Marshall.
I mean,
What's his size?
6 foot, 230 pounds.
I mean,
that's-
I don't know how he fits from a personality standpoint, but your boy Zeke might fit nicely.
Zeke's another guy.
He can get scored those 2-yard touchdowns pretty well.
And the thing about Zeke is like he hasn't had serious injuries. I mean, he's just had like nicks and bumps along the way.
Yeah, he just been his body just been ran down a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, they gave him the ball
he's a
like
workhorse.
40 times in Dallas.
I mean, this whole thing, yeah. Well, he got
Yeah,
fat.
he wanted it.
He got fat. He asked for it.
Yeah,
he asked
got
for it.
He
Well, I
wanted
want to
it.
ask you this.
Yeah.
And I know you aren't a Browns fan by nature, but for all the Browns fans who were upset over this move,
Yeah.
when they let Nick Chubb go,
Yeah.
if he's just simply not the same player he was, if he's just not good in Houston, will it make Browns? You think they'll feel a little better about the situation?
I don't because I think most fans knew. Most fans wanted him back because you want a player you love to be with your team his entire career. I think most people were realistic that after what we saw last year and his age, and he did get. I know it wasn't the same level of seriousness, but he got hurt again last year. There was another injury, and so he's still got to recover from that, which he still seems to be working through. I just think people wanted him to still be part of the team. So I don't think the fact that he doesn't look like his old self makes you would have been even more pissed had he looked like his old self in Houston. But I don't think it changes anything for fans that wanted him back. It was a sentimental reason that you wanted him back. It wasn't necessarily a football reason. Where it turns out now that like maybe he could have helped for a football perspective with Judkins out, but it is what it is.
He for sure could have helped, even if Judkins didn't get in trouble.
Right.
But the fact remains, he's a shell of himself.
Yeah.
Fans wanted him back because he's a guy that you could feel really good about rooting for. You could wear his jersey.
Yeah.
You know he's going to do everything right. Like it's not a guy that you have to worry about. It's somebody that you just like when you have an organization and a team that has been so crappy for so long. Like he was kind of the one guy outside of Joe Thomas that was a skill position player.
Yeah.
That every time you put on that jersey and went to the ballpark, you knew that you could feel good about that, and you don't have that anymore.
You know, many years ago, and I brought this up recently.
You got a player like that.
What?
Myles Garrett.
Kim.
Who else?
Denzel Ward.
I'm talking about a skill position offensive player.
Oh,
Yeah.
offensive. Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, but he's 1 year. I mean, he's got to do it for longer. And fans don't have the affinity for him that they did for Nick Chubb. And here's the thing.
He's a guy that's been
But he's also got to prove he's not a knucklehead too.
He ain't really did anything.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying he's a bad guy like off the field, but I'm saying like he's got to. You can't just have one good year for the Browns.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
We've seen plenty of one
David
good years.
Njoku is loved.
Not like
Not like Nick.
No,
Chubb.
he's not.
You know,
not Nick Chubb. Not Nick
it's
Chubb.
funny. I brought this up recently that you weren't here though, but Dustin and I did a show. I don't know. It's probably 6-7 years
Panini's
ago.
and whatever
in
that
Westlake.
Westlake.
Yeah.
Right
bought
near
a
the
jersey.
Rocky River Westlake.
It's not open anymore. It's something else now.
It's
not-
I think
it's not Panini's anymore.
Yeah, I don't know what it is now.
But it doesn't matter. But it was right there in the corner.
But we did a show where we asked fans what jersey you'd buy. You could only pick a Browns player since '99, and the two players answered the
Thomas.
most were
Joe Thomas.
that's
And
one,
Phil Dawson.
Phil Dawson, a kicker.
I'd still rock.
Great kicker.
I'd rock a Phil Dawson jersey today.
Okay, but that was the sad state of affairs. I don't know what year that was.
who
16,
else?
17,
Who else
something
is
like
you
that.
gonna
Earlier.
pick?
Well, that's
No,
the thing.
It was like 14.
If we
15.
did that same show now, Nick Chubb, it would be Nick Chubb would be number one. Yeah, there'd be Myles Garrett, there'd be other guys, but
What year
Nick
was
Chubb
this show?
would be number. I don't know,
6
between
years?
14 and 17, something like that.
Yeah.
It was before. I mean, what was Nick Chubb's rookie year?
18.
18. Yeah,
yeah.
so it was before his rookie year. So, but now you'd have that. Now you have like Nick Chubb is the most beloved skill position player since what? Maybe ever. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm.
This is Joe Thomas, right?
Well, skill position
Oh,
player.
skill
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
player. We
Since
really,
Bernie, are we considering? I know usually when we talk about skill position players, we go running back, wide receiver, tight end, but
Hold on.
like
let
Nick
me-
Chubb is. Oh, and here's the thing
let me
too.
think about this.
There are people that don't like Myles Garrett. There are people that don't like whoever. I have never met a person that doesn't like Nick Chubb. Have you ever met a Browns fan that didn't love Nick Chubb?
What would you not like about
I don't know.
him?
There's zero.
There's
There's
nothing not to like.
I don't know what you could point to.
I don't think I could come up with somebody.
No.
Josh Gordon.
Yeah, but fans don't have a love for Josh Gordon because you feel like he wasted his career.
Yeah.
This is
What a waste of
sad.
time.
I think Nick Chubb is I mean, he's the best. To me, he's the best skill position player the Browns have had in my lifetime.
And what's funny about it
That
is like
includes Ozzie Newsome, and
you can go to like the sporting goods store right now
Yeah.
and get his jersey for like 75% off. I'd still buy it because you
Absolutely.
can, that's a jersey you can wear to
can wear
the
forever.
Brown Stadium for another 20 years.
That's right. That's true.
I can't think.
You got
of
nobody.
This is
That's the sad state of affairs.
Okay, it ain't Kellen Winslow, no Braylon Edwards.
No. Certainly nobody since '99 you could even talk about it.
Is there a white receiver that everyone loves?
Joe Juravicious.
Yeah.
And he wasn't here that long, dude. I mean,
No.
and he had like one good year.
That's the thing. There's so many of these guys that like Braylon Edwards and all these guys that had Josh Gordon that had the one great year. But Nick Chubb, when he was healthy, was always great here. Always.
Man.
And it wasn't that long,
That's sad.
unfortunately, but
Yeah,
he
bro.
was great.
That's really
for what,
that's
6
pathetic.
years?
7 years. Yeah.
6 years?
It's got to be somebody
great.
we forgetting.
No.
It's got to be somebody.
There's not, Tyvis. We've done it.
Ozzie Newsome and Amari Cooper, I believe, are the only two pass catchers to have more than 1,000-yard season for the Browns, I believe. That's it.
Yeah.
Ozzie Newsome, a tight end,
Yeah.
who had 1,001 and 1,002, and Amari Cooper.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think did
No, because when Amari Cooper did it for the second year, that was a big thing.
yeah, didn't Odell didn't have two.
He only had one.
Jarvis Landry didn't have two.
People love Jarvis.
Yeah, it did, but he had like one good year.
Yeah, and Nick Chubb is a Cleveland Brown.
Jarvis.
Jarvis is not a Cleveland Brown. Odell's not a Cleveland Brown.
Jarvis actually, he was like the person that like turned it though. He like changed
Turned
the
it to
culture.
what?
He changed the
He had one speech on Hard Knocks.
He changed the culture a little bit.
A
Did he
little bit.
not?
I agree with a
Did
little
he
bit.
not?
I agree with a little bit.
Before him.
Okay.
It didn't last, but I agree with you. I agree a little bit.
Listen, let's not go crazy. Jarvis was really a really good teammate
Yeah.
and a good player for the Browns. But it was like a short-lived thing.
Nick Chubb was more than any other Browns player
The epitome of a
the epitome of everything you wanted in a player, everything you wanted in a person. You felt comfortable, like your kid looking up to him.
Yes.
You knew he was always going to do the right thing, and that's hard in this day and age in anything, sports or any other work of life, to find a guy like that. And we don't really know Nick Chubb personally. I certainly don't.
No, but I think
Talked to him a couple of times, but
there's not a person in the world that's ever said a bad thing about him.
Never. And I've heard. I don't know how many people have said, I met Nick Chubb and he was so nice and he did this. I know somebody that lived, when he first lived here, he lived in a building right downtown. Mm-hmm. And I knew somebody that lived in the same building. He couldn't have been nicer. He couldn't have been politer. There was never any noise from his room. All he was doing was football. And
I bet the guy's never been late in his life.
I looked at. I had to go to the chat. Came
think he's
over
a
with
virgin?
the answer.
Never been late.
I thought you said never been late.
Cut that out. Man.
Oh my God.
We got a skill player.
I bet you're right. He probably has never been late.
The chat helped me out. There was another beloved skill player that played for the Browns.
Eric Metcalf?
Josh Cribbs.
That was the other name that came up when we were talking about
Josh
it.
Cribbs, you're right.
A
He was
special
probably
teamer,
third.
but he's a special teamer.
But Josh Cribbs is more of a special team. He was a great special teamer.
Great special teamer.
But he
Peyton
wasn't
Hillis?
a great skill position player.
Peyton Hillis only had the one year.
1 year. That was the craziest of all the 1 year
Josh
seasons.
Cribbs was so good that Devin Hester shouted him out in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. The Peyton Hillis one season, of all the crazy 1 years, the Braylon Edwards, the Kellen Winslows, the Josh Gordons, the most unexplainable of them all, the most crazy of them all, is Peyton Hillis. Although, wait a second. I got one even crazier than that. Terrell Pryor getting 1,000 yards receiving.
No, Peyton Hillis was on top of it. He got on the cover of Madden.
No, but Terrell Pryor never did anything.
He was a quarterback.
And he had 1,000-yard season for a terrible Browns team. Double check that, Mike. I think he had 1,000 yards.
He did. Yeah, I think he had like
Which is crazy.
1,038 or something.
He wasn't even a
like
receiver.
No.
He was a quarterback.
He got paid by
So that
Washington, didn't
and
he?
the Peyton Hillis thing. I mean, because Peyton Hillis really didn't do much besides that 1 year. But that 1 year, he was
He was
unbelievable.
Dude, he ran for 247 yards against the New England Patriots.
Plus, and then the next year
he
he was
ran
like,
the ball like you supposed to.
Well, you're right.
yeah,
1,007 yards, barely.
that's
but it
crazy. And then, but
The rest of his career, by the way.
yeah,
So 2016 had that 1,000-yard season. 240 yards, 250 yards, 252 yards the rest of his career.
yeah, he
Go
never did anything.
Bucks.
He had 1,563 receiving yards in his career and 1,000 that one year.
Yeah.
Go
The
Bucks.
crazy thing about Peyton Hillis was the next year, it's like he lost his mind. Remember?
He wanted to be a secret agent, and he missed Charles Bentley's Halloween party.
Right.
He got married on
in the middle
bye
of the
week.
season.
Yeah.
It was just like so
I
weird.
remember all that stuff. That was,
It was
crazy.
so many
that was such a
crazy
bizarre
things.
year. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then he ended up going
That
to the
man
Giants.
got on
Yeah.
the cover. I remember going there. He had like a camp. I feel like I can't remember where it was at in Cleveland. He had
Yeah.
a camp somewhere for kids, and I like went to it. Like I didn't participate. Like
Yeah.
I was just being a spectator.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why I did that, but yeah. And he was like, and the kids was asking him about being on the cover of Madden
Yeah.
and all those things. It was pretty cool, man. Pretty cool.
He was such a wacky. Like there would be other Browns players that would come on our show, and they would be like,
Strep throat. Remember the strep throat?
"Oh yeah, strep
thing?
throat. He didn't play because of a strep throat."
And he was out there playing catch before the game, but
Right.
then like basically scratched himself
Yeah.
from the game.
He didn't play a game because
the players
of strep
thought it was
throat?
weird.
You
It
gotta
was
be kidding me.
Yeah, that was. Oh my God, did we pull ratings off of Peyton Hillis?
It wasn't like against Pittsburgh,
Y'all.
I think it was.
which makes it even worse.
Yeah,
Did y'all rip him?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
There was a new Peyton Hillis story every week. It
Every
seemed
week.
like.
Are you kidding me?
It was unbelievable.
Oh my
For
God.
strep
I mean,
throat?
we had some crazy meltdowns. on
This
He
guy,
actually had a great interview when he came on with us.
he can write a
great
book though,
interview.
man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And he recently, in the last like 5 years, saved his like nephew's
I know,
life in
and then-
a
Yeah, from
riptide.
drowning
In a
or
riptide,
something.
yeah.
Yeah. He's an interesting character.